Starvation in Gaza and peace in Ukraine. It's 5 in 10 from SkyWatchTV. 5 things you need to know in about 10 minutes for Tuesday, August 19th, 2025. I'm Derek Gilbert. Item number 5 today, Ukraine. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky and the leaders of Europe all gathered in the Oval Office yesterday. This photo of European heads of state sitting around the Resolute desk, that's got to be one of the photos of 2025, because this is not an image that we would have seen during the previous administration. President Trump, by the way, describing his White House negotiations with Volodymyr Zelensky and European leaders as a very good early step towards ending the 3.5-year-old war between Russia and Ukraine, announcing that he's already spoken with Russia's President Vladimir Putin about arranging a direct meeting with Zelensky. Trump said the group of world leaders held discussions on security guarantees for Ukraine, with commitments coming primarily from European nations in coordination with the United States. He posted this in a statement to Truth Social, his social media platform. Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff now leading the follow-up talks with both Russia and Ukraine. Zelensky signaled that he was ready to meet with Vladimir Putin. Putin, no word yet as to whether he is going to agree to a meeting. I would expect that these security guarantees would not include American troops on the ground in Ukraine, since Trump ran on a platform of getting America out of this particular conflict. If Europe wants to guarantee what's going to happen on the ground in Ukraine, then Europe is going to have to deal with this situation. This is part of Trump's pivot to China and the bigger long-term security threat to the United States, China being more of a long-term threat than Russia. If the Europeans want to take care of what's happening in their backyard, they are going to have to handle it on their own. Again, we'll see how this plays out. Item number 4, Israel. Hamas has signaled that it's ready to accept a ceasefire proposal that was put forward by Egypt and Qatar, those two nations trying to broker a deal between Israel and Hamas. But Israel signaling that it is not inclined to accept this particular deal. This, according to press reports, would involve Hamas releasing 10 Israeli hostages in exchange for a 60-day ceasefire and then 150 Palestinian prisoners currently serving life sentences in Israeli prisons for committing capital crimes. That sounds like a reward to Hamas, just like the 60-day ceasefire would be a reward to Hamas, just like European nations agreeing to acknowledge and recognize a Palestinian state is a reward to Hamas. Israel saying, the Prime Minister's office releasing a statement saying it is committed to getting all 50 of the remaining hostages, most of whom are now deceased, or there is no deal. And frankly, the only reason Hamas is even agreeing to come back to the negotiating table now is because the IDF is preparing what it probably should have done on October 7th of 2023, which is just a full-on onslaught to remove Hamas from the face of the planet. President Trump, I think, was correct when he said on Monday that the hostages will only be returned when, quote, Hamas is confronted and destroyed, end quote. Without hostages, Hamas has no leverage. They will not give up the hostages as long as one member of Hamas remains standing. Item number 3 today, they're not even pretending anymore. I'm talking about liberals here in the United States. They realize that the tide has turned, that they are backing losing platforms, and so the only way they're going to win elections going forward is to, this is from the New York Times, abolish the Senate, end the Electoral College, pack the court. This op-ed, literally, last week in the New York Times, why the left can't win without a new constitution. This is based on an op-ed by a writer for the New Republic, which is a left-leaning news magazine, Osita Dwavenu. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing his name, so please forgive me. I'm not doing that deliberately. Anyway, he's convinced that abolishing the Senate, getting rid of the Electoral College, and packing the Supreme Court, the only way for Democrats will push back against President Trump's agenda. He wrote, quote, "The Senate shapes the judiciary, shapes the executive branch, and obviously it's a veto point for the passage of even ordinary legislation," end quote. In other words, he's not upset that the Senate is an obstacle to the Republic operating the way it's supposed to. He's upset that the Senate is operating exactly as the Constitution intended. Liberals want a democracy, which is everybody gets to vote. In other words, mob rule. The Republic is intended to prevent mob rule, which is why we've got a House and a Senate and the separation of powers and the Electoral College to prevent small states, population-wise, like North Dakota and Wyoming, from being ruled by liberals in New York and Los Angeles who have no idea how people in rural America live. In other words, because the Constitution is doing what it wants, but not doing what it's supposed to, but not doing what liberals want, they want to get rid of it. And like I said, they're not even pretending anymore. Item number 2 today, AI surveillance, a disturbing story from Tennessee, where a 13-year-old 8th grader was arrested, sentenced to 8 weeks of house arrest, psychological evaluation, 20 days at an alternative school, because her school's artificial intelligence surveillance program flagged a conversation that she had with her friends on their school-issued electronic devices. According to the Associated Press, the girl's friends had been teasing her about her tanned complexion, calling her Mexican, even though she's not. When a friend asked what she was planning to do on a particular Thursday, she wrote, quote, "On Thursday, we do away with all the Mexicos," end quote. Not going to use the word because I don't want to flag the algorithm, the AI surveillance tools out there. Anyway, any rational person looking at this would understand these were teens being teens. We saw our daughter going, and this is 20 years ago now, using language with her friends and joking in ways that we wouldn't have done in our generation. But anyway, it would not have been taken as a serious comment, but the artificial intelligence program called Gaggle, which monitors chats for threats, and because it's a machine that doesn't understand context, flagged this as a threat to all Mexicans. And rather than doing due diligence and digging into the context, school administration immediately alerted the police, who arrested the girl, drove her to the police station, strip searched her, forced her to shower on camera, coerced her into signing documents that she couldn't possibly understand without a lawyer present, and then threw her into solitary confinement for 24 hours. Her parents didn't even know where she was. When they finally found out what happened, they weren't allowed any contact with her until after the 24-hour solitary confinement was completed. If this had been my daughter, I'm not normally confrontational, but I would have made an exception. The judge later kept up the lack of due diligence, ruling the poor girl was probably mentally retarded. His words. Ordered a psych evaluation followed by putting her under house arrest, where she was not allowed contact with anyone but her parents. And then, while she was under house arrest, again, 8 weeks of house arrest. She was under 8 weeks of house arrest, not allowed to leave home. The school filed truancy charges because she wasn't in school. All this because she made a joke that AI couldn't understand. Parents, you might want to warn your child if they're using a school-issued device, or even if they're not, be careful what you share with your friends on the internet. Coming up, PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, makes itself even more ridiculous. That's next on 5 and 10.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can support the ministry of SkyWatchTV and our continued efforts to share the gospel of Jesus Christ throughout the four corners of the world and receive your very own copy of this incredible masterpiece when you order the Numbers That Prophesy special offer. Not only does this incredible opportunity include Troy Brewer's new book, Numbers That Prophesy, hearing God through historic headlines and numbers that preach. But it also includes I Predict. This incredible masterpiece features some of the world's foremost authorities on Bible prophecy. Powerful voices like Paul McGuire, Dr. Gordon MacDonald, Troy Anderson, Dr. Larry Spargimino, Derek and Sharon Gilbert, Dr. Thomas Horn, Joel Richardson, Mark Biltz, Carl Gallups, and more, each revealing what they believe lies just ahead in these final prophetic days on earth. But that's not all. While supplies last, this special offer also includes, in beautifully bound hardback, Joel Richardson's best-selling book, Sinai to Zion, the untold story of the triumphant return of Jesus. From blazing fire on Sinai to the return of the Messiah, this impeccable work reveals how the final Exodus is yet to come. Joel Richardson uncovers forgotten prophecies that show Jesus returning just as he came, in clouds, fire, trumpets, and glory. This is the return of the King like you've never seen it presented before. Sold separately, these items hold a retail value of over $65. Yours now for your donation of only $45, which includes free shipping to all U.S. orders. So don't delay. You can support the ministry of SkyWatch TV and help us continue spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ right now by scanning the QR code on your screen, using the camera app on your phone for instant access to this special opportunity. You can also visit us at skywatchtvstore.com or call 1-844-750-4985 and ask for the numbers that prophesy special offer now.
Item number one today, just when you thought PETA couldn't make itself even more ridiculous and irrelevant, it finds a way. It literally posted this graphic to social media yesterday. Hey, Nintendo, let cow race free. Remove her nose ring. It's not a style choice. It's a cruel tool used to control and hurt cows in the meat and dairy industries. It's a game. Mario Kart. It's a game. I mean, there are no words. As I said, just when you think PETA can't make itself any more ridiculous, obviously at this point, nobody should take PETA seriously anymore. This week on SkyWatch TV, we do talk about a very serious topic, and that is trafficking. Troy Brewer, the author of the new book, Numbers That Prophesy, his mission to which he's been called is rescuing children by going to foreign countries and buying them and then turning them over to foster care, to ministries here in the United States where these children can heal. Children who have literally been sold into slavery in foreign nations. He goes over there to think he's a rich American looking to buy children for his own use. So we talk about that this week on SkyWatch TV. This is a topic that's gotten SkyWatch TV canceled, by the way, several times from major social media platforms, which is why we tell you to get our mobile app, and I'll tell you about that in just a minute. This program you can watch right now at skywatchtv.com. You can also catch it over the air. Our broadcast schedule this week, posted at skywatchtv.com/channels, or download our free mobile app to your smartphone or tablet. Get the app for your TV, whether it's Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, Google TV, Android TV. We've got apps for all of those. Again, for your mobile device, brings it right into your smartphone or tablet, whether it's iOS, Android, or Amazon Kindle Fire. And this is how you bypass the gatekeepers of big tech and guarantee we never get canceled when we talk about touchy subjects like this. Makes you wonder why some of these platforms have a problem with programs about this, exposing this horrific practice. Anyway, you'll find links to these at skywatchtv.com/app. Coming up this weekend, we invite you to join us in Springfield, Missouri, here in our backyard in the heart of the Ozarks, the Oasis Hotel and Convention Center for the Remnant Rising Conference. Joe Artis Horn will be talking about this particular topic. He's got a forthcoming book on it. Look forward to that because it's one that we need to raise awareness of. It is something that is happening everywhere, all around us, and most of us are just oblivious. Anyway, it's coming up this Friday through Sunday, 22nd through the 24th. Still a few seats left. If you're interested in going, you can join us there. Joe Artis Horn, Donna Howell, Nita Horn, Sharon Me, Jamie Walden, Mondo de la Vega, Trey Smith, and Vicki Joy Anderson and others. Information and registration at hearthewatchmen.com, but you can save $20 on registration by using promo code SkyWatch20. That's SkyWatch20. Not only will you save $20, but Hear the Watchman Ministries will donate $20 to Whispering Ponies Ranch for the work that we do with broken children in the foster care system. So it's a win-win-win, and you can find out more at hearthewatchmen.com. That's hearthewatchmen.com. In October, Sharon and I are going back to the Holy Land, and we invite you to join us. Still a few seats left on the bus. October 19th through 30th as we travel Israel from north to south, visiting sites not on the typical tours. We will take you to Israel's Stonehenge, Gilgal, Rephaim. We will take you to Jesus' base of ministries, Capernaum, and we'll explain why that is connected to the valley of the shadow of death. In fact, we will show you that valley as we believe it's a real place. Yes, it's a metaphor for how Christ protects us in our darkest hours. But back in the day, people would have known what he was talking about, because that area between the Sea of Galilee and Mount Hermon was believed to be the literal entrance to the netherworld. We'll also go to Jerusalem, of course. We'll take you to the Temple Mount, the Mount of Olives, the City of David, the tunnels underneath the Western Wall, much, much more. Find out more and reserve your seat on the bus at gilberthouse.org/travel. That's gilberthouse.org/travel. Follow 5 in 10 online. We're on YouTube at 5 in 10. Please, if you would, subscribe, share, click the bell for notifications, hit the like button, and leave your comments below this program. You can also follow us on X at 5_in_10. And thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert. This is 5 in 10 from SkyWatch TV.